Bhagavate Devaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudite Nashtuprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtike. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 8. The author receives the order of Krishna and Guru. Text number 1 onwards. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagvantam Yadichaya Prasavam Nartayate Chitram Lekha Range Jadoapiyam. I offer my respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose desire I have become like a dancing dog and suddenly taken to the writing of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, although I am a fool. This is his mood, this is his sentiments, this is how humble he is. And that is when one gets the mercy of the Lord. He said, I'm just a fool, but somehow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have become like a dancing dog. And suddenly taken to the writing. See, I'm not at all qualified. It's only by mercy of Mahaprabhu I'm doing this service. Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra Jai Jaya Paramananda Jaya Nityananda. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is also known as Gaur Sundar. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto Nityanand Prabhu, who is always very joyful. Jaya Jaya Advaita Acharya Kripa Maya Jaya Jaya Gadadhar Pandit Mahashaya. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Advaita Acharya, who is very merciful, and also to that great personality, Gadadhar Pandit, the learned scholar. Jaya Jaya Srivasadi Yat Bhakta Gana Pranataha Ya Vando Sabara Charan. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srivas Thakur and all the other devotees of the Lord. I fall down to offer them respect. I worship their lotus feet. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami teaches us first to offer respects to Panchtattva. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu, and Srivas Prabhu, and other devotees. We must strictly follow the principle of offering our respects to the Panchtattva. As summarized in the mantra, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhatta. At the beginning of every function in preaching, especially before chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We must chant the Panchtattva's names and offer our respects to them. And this is how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami himself started it. Muk kavitva kare ya sabar smarane pangu giri lange anda dekhe taragane. By remembering the lotus feet of the Panchtattva, a dumb man can become a poet, a lame man can cross mountains, and a blind man can see the stars in the sky. In Vaishnava philosophy, there are three ways for perfection, namely sadhana siddha, perfection attained by executing devotion service according to the rules and regulations. Nitya siddha, eternal perfection attained by never forgetting Krishna at any time. And kripa siddha, perfection attained by the mercy of the spiritual master or another Vaishnava. Kaviraj Goswami here stresses kripa siddha, perfection by the mercy of superior authorities. This mercy does not depend on the qualifications of a devotee. By such mercy, even if a devotee is dumb, he can speak or write to glorify the Lord splendidly. Even if lame, he can cross mountains, and even if blind, he can see the stars in the sky. So this mercy does not depend on the qualifications of a devotee, true. But the mercy follows our sincere attempts. Lord, if he wants, he can do anything for everyone. But that doesn't mean we don't perform our service, our sadhana, and just expect the mercy. And if nothing happens, then we blame the Lord. Oh, you didn't give me mercy. There was nothing wrong with me, something wrong with you. No. Mercy means we do our services. But we know we cannot be siddha, we cannot become perfect by our sadhana. We can only become perfect by kripa. But kripa itself means kar and pa. Do it and expect the mercy. The percentage of mercy is much more than our effort, obviously. But still, it depends. It doesn't depend upon our effort, but Lord wants to see our sincerity performing the services. Ei saba namane ye pandita sakala tasavara vidya pad beka kolahal. The education cultivated by so-called learned scholars who do not believe these statements of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is like the tumultuous croaking of frogs. The croaking of frogs in the rainy season resounds very loudly in the forest, with the result that snakes, hearing the croaking in the darkness, approach the frogs and swallow them. Similarly, the so-called educational vibrations of the tongues of the university professors who do not have spiritual knowledge is like the croaking of frogs. And also it has no value actually, croaking of frogs has no value. And this, what Prabhupada is saying, the tongues of university professors who do not have spiritual knowledge, only having technical knowledge or just material knowledge, it doesn't help one to make progress spiritually. In fact, it's a big deterrent to make progress. If somebody has so much of knowledge, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one place, it's like a snake with a crown. It's very dangerous. They don't surrender to Krishna very easily because of that title, or because of the pride in their education or knowledge, so-called knowledge they have. It's very difficult for them to surrender. Ei saba namane yeva kare Krishna bhakti, Krishna kripa nahi taragati. One who does not accept the glories of the Panch Tattva, but still makes a show of devotional service to Krishna, can never achieve the mercy of Krishna or advance to the ultimate goal. If one is seriously interested in Krishna conscious activities, he must be ready to follow the rules and regulations laid down by the acharyas, and he must understand the conclusions. The Shastra says, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam mahajano yena gata sapanta. It's very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness, but one who advances by the instruction of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of his predecessors in the line of disciplic succession will have success. So, the one who advances by the instruction of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of his predecessors will have success. Others will not. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has says in this connection, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paichakya. Unless one serves a spiritual master and acharyas, one cannot be liberated. Elsewhere he says, Ichai Gosai Yar Mui Taradas, Tasavara Padarenu, Mora Panchakras. I simply accept a person who follows in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, and the dust of such a person's lotus feet is my food. Mora Panchakras, that's what Narottam Das Thakur has said. Dust of the lotus feet of a person who follows in the footsteps of 6 Goswamis. That is the correct person. So without following the parampara, and one cannot have success. And the following the parampara means following the instructions of the Acharya coming in the parampara. So that's why Prabhupada, he must be ready to follow the rules and regulations laid down by the Acharyas. And then he will get the Kripa. Then the Kripa will flow. And not just Kripa of Krishna. Now, if we come in the parampara trying to follow the rules, so Krishna Kripa and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, and all the Acharyas in the line, they will bestow their mercy so that we can make progress. So we get Kripa of everybody in the line. Purva yache jarasandha adi raja gaman veda dharma kari kare Vishnura pujan. Formerly kings like Jarasandha, the father-in-law of Kansa, strictly followed the Vedic rituals, thus worshipping Lord Vishnu. Okay. In these verses, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, is very seriously stressing the importance of worship of the Panchtattva. If one becomes a devotee of Gaur Sundar or Krishna, but does not give importance to Panchtattva, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda, his activities are considered to be offenses, or in the words of Shri Rupa Goswami, Utpat. Utpate Vikalpate, disturbance. One must therefore be ready to offer due respects to the Panchtattva before becoming a devotee of Lord Gaurasundar or of Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the path to Krishna Prem in this Kali Yuga, it goes through Panchtattva. So one has to pay respects, due respects to Panchtattva. Krishna nahi mane tate daitya kari mani, Chaitanya na mani le taiche daitya tare jani. One who does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly a demon. Similarly, anyone who does not accept Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the same Supreme Lord, is also to be considered a demon. So formerly there were kings like Jarasandha who strictly followed the Vedic rituals, acted as charitable, competent Kshatriyas, possessed all Kshatriya qualities and were even obedient to the Brahminical culture, but who did not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that was his problem. He followed everything, even Ravan. Ravan followed all the Vedic principles, rituals, but did not accept Ram as the Supreme Personality of God. Jarasandha attacked Krishna many times, and each time, of course, he was defeated. Like Jarasandha, any man who performs Vedic rituals but does not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered an asura or demon. Heavy statement. Even if they're performing all the Vedic rituals, but they don't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like this sect, Arya Samaj, they consider themselves that they are following the Vedic ritual. They do Havan pretty much every day, but they don't accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They say he was a great historical figure. He was a king. And that's about it. So first of all, they're not understanding, but the Vedas are recommended. They say they follow Vedas, but Vedesha sarverahame Vedya, Krishna himself says, by all the Vedas I am to be known. And according to Prabhupada, because they are not devotees of Krishna, they're asuras or demons, even if they're doing Vedic rituals. Similarly, one who does not accept Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna himself is also a demon. This is the conclusion of authoritative scriptures. Therefore, both so-called devotion to Gaurasundar without devotional service to Krishna and so-called Krishna Bhakti without devotional service to Gaurasundar are non-devotional activities. That's Now we cannot say the same thing about Shri Sampradaya. They don't accept Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or whether they accept or not, they worship their Lakshmi Narayana. So I guess this is related to only Gaudiya Vaishnava. If one wants to be successful on the path of Krishna consciousness, he must be thoroughly conscious of the personality of Gaur Shungar as well as the personality of Krishna. Knowing the personality of Gaur Shungar means knowing the personalities of Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktoran. The author of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, pursuant to the authorities, stresses this principle for perfection in Krishna consciousness. So anyway, we have to go through Panch Tattva to do our devotion service, to chant Hare Krishna Mantra, and then we'll have all the perfection we desire. More na manile sava loka habinasha iti lagi kripardra prabhu karila shanyasha. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought, unless people accept me, they will all be destroyed. Thus the merciful Lord accepted the sannyas order. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Kirtana Dev Krishna Se Mukta Sangha Brahmajit. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Lord Krishna's name, one is liberated and goes back to Godhead. This Krishna consciousness must be achieved through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One cannot be complete in Krishna consciousness unless he accepts Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates as the only means for success. It is because of these considerations that the Lord accepted sannyas, for thus people would offer him respect and very quickly come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. Since Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement, without his mercy, one cannot be elevated to the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. So this is, and moreover, he is a Mahavadanyaya avatar, most munificent, most merciful. And that's why he took sannyas, so people, at least they respect sannyasis. So the idea was people make some progress, somehow, somewhere. Sannyasi buddhe more karibe namaskar, tathapi khandipe dukkha paibe nistaha. If a person offers obeisances to me, even due to accepting me only as an ordinary sannyasi, his material distresses will diminish and he will ultimately get liberation. Krishna is so merciful that he always thinks of how to liberate the conditioned souls from the material platform. It's for this reason that Krishna incarnates, as clearly indicated in Bhagavad Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharat and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Krishna always protects the living entities in many ways. He comes himself, he sends his own confidential devotees, and he leaves behind shastras like the Bhagavad Gita. Why? It is so that people may take advantage of the benediction to be liberated from the clutches of. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas so that even a foolish person who accepted him as an ordinary sannyasi would offer him respect, for this would help him diminish his material distresses and ultimately liberate him from the material clutches. So Krishna has created this material world. This material world we read in detail in Bhagavatam. It's like a prison house for all the conditioned living entities to rectify themselves. But he creates this material world, this prison house, but he himself comes in this material world. He sends his devotees, he sends his scriptures. Why? so that we can get out of this prison house. It's just like government constructs a prison house and prime minister or chief minister goes to that prison house and gives the prisoners blueprint of the prison house and gives them, okay, what's the way to get out? This is mercy of Krishna. Nobody gives the prisoners a way. How can you get out of here? But in material world, Krishna is so merciful. He says, okay, I'll take sannyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thought. So even if foolish persons, they accept, they offer obeisances or respects to me, he will get benefited. To see sannyasi, naturally one, at least in India, they offer respects. And Mahaprabhu said, okay, let them get benefited this way. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati points out in this connection that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined form of Sri Radha and Krishna. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayanya. Therefore, when fools considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an ordinary human being and thus treated him disrespectfully, the merciful Lord, in order to deliver these offenders, accepted sannyas, so that they would offer him obeisances, accepting him as a sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas to bestow his great mercy on people in general who cannot appreciate him as Radha and Krishna themselves. So just offer obeisances, respects, and you'll get mercy. Hena kripa mai chaitanya na bhaje je jana sarvotam hai lyo tare asuragana. One who does not show respect unto this merciful Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or does not worship him, should be considered a demon, even if he is very much exalted in human society. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says in this connection, O living entities, simply engage yourself in Krishna consciousness. This is the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya preached this cult, instructing the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in his 8 verses, or Shikshashtaka, and he said, Iha haite sarva siddhi haive sabha. By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will get all perfection in life. Sarva siddhi haive sabha. Therefore, one who does not show him respect or cannot appreciate his mercy, despite all these merciful gestures, is an asura, or opponent of bona fide devotional service to Lord Vishnu, even though he may be very much exalted in human society. The word asura refers to one who is against devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. It should be noted that unless one worships Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is useless to become a devotee of Krishna. And unless one worships Krishna, it is also useless to become a devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The both are same. Such devotional service is to be understood to be a product of Kali Yuga. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur remarks in this connection that atheists, smartas, so worshippers of the 5 kinds of demigods, worship Lord Vishnu for a little satisfaction in material success, but have no respect for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thinking him to be one of the ordinary living entities, they discriminate between Gaur Sundar and Shri Krishna. Such understanding is also demoniac and is against the conclusion of the Acharyas. Such a conclusion is a product of Kali Yuga. So, wonderful statement, an important statement for all of us to follow. So, understanding the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and of course, we know Krishna's position, but both are same. So, you cannot disregard either while performing devotion service. And to make progress, we have to consider both. So I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare